Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, and today we're going to be looking at this Friday main slate on DraftKings. A pretty large slate ahead of us. I haven't looked at the weather at all. I'm recording this the night before, so we're still nearly 24 hours away. So things can change, but we're just going to kind of pretend at the moment that, weather's not an issue and just kind of get you familiar with the slate. We'll go through the pitchers, and then we'll just kind of talk about some of my favorite stacks on the board. But let's just start off with the pitchers here, and a lot of good options, in my opinion. I think this is a great pitching slate. There's nice offenses as well, but definitely a strong pitching slate. Gerrit Cole leading the way at the top, 10K. They banned the sticky stuff back in about a month ago, and he really struggled. And then all of a sudden, bam, he pitches that complete game, 3-hit, no earned runs, 50 points against Houston. Just kind of did a very similar thing against Boston with 35 DK points. And I think you just kind of have to expect him to keep the ball rolling here. It's got a rematch with Boston. I think he's clearly the #1 option on the slate here. So he's definitely a guy that I'm going to be targeting up top. Peralta, just 100 cheaper than him. He's kind of going the opposite way as Cole since the sticky ban. He started off really well, and we were like, okay, see, he must not have been using it because he mowed down Arizona, but then he's gone lower and lower and just had worse starts as he's continued to go on here. So he gets an average matchup against the Chicago White Sox here. I think, though, if you're looking at Peralta versus Cole, I think you have to go Cole. Peralta, obviously a GPP play with his strikeout upside, but definitely Cole there. Wheeler, he's a workhorse. We know this by now. He's going to be pitching. He could get up to 110 pitches for you. He hasn't been the same as of late going up against Atlanta. They don't have Acuna, but the offense is still pretty good. So, again, I would find the $200 to get up to Cole. Or, I like this guy more than Peralta or Wheeler. Lucas Giolito, he's been up and down all season. He has had a roller coaster of a time so far, but he has had 2 solid starts here recently. So he's got a nice matchup. He's going up against Milwaukee. They strike out a lot, especially against right-handed pitching. They strike out the 5th most against right-handed pitching in the past month at 26%. And Giolito, he's got a high strikeout rate himself. So I think he's probably my 2nd favorite pitcher behind Cole up in this tier, at least. So if I was going to be paying up a pitcher, I would go Cole and then Giolito, and then probably up to Peralta and Wheeler after that. Mahle, I'm not interested in. I'll get into him more when we do talk about the bats. McGill, I preferred him more when he was around that 7.2 range. I think 9K is just a little too pricey, especially going up against Toronto. Thompson, same deal. He's got great game logs. Solid pitcher, but I just don't like the matchup. I don't want to be paying 8.8K for him. I think it is a little pricey, especially because, like I said, there's a lot of solid pitching options. You can do much better here. Montas is one of those guys. I think he is in a good spot going up against Seattle. Seattle can strike out a lot, and he's in great form. 4 consecutive starts with 2 or fewer earned runs. His walk rate is low. His strikeout rate is up. So everything is trending in the right direction for him. So, yeah, Montas, a fine option in this price range. Odorizzi, I kind of like Odorizzi, given the matchup here. Texas in the past month have been the worst team in the entire major leagues in terms of offensive production against right-handed pitching. Now, Odorizzi, not the best pitcher in the world, but the Texas bats are really, really struggling. In the past month, their team batting average is around 200. In the past 2 weeks, I know it's not a large sample size, but in the past 2 weeks, and that goes past the All-Star break, 2 weeks of games, their team batting average is below 150. So it's pretty stark. And just concerning if you're a Rangers fan of just how bad the offense is. So ODORIZZI, I'm not saying he's the safe option, but he's definitely a guy that you could be looking at. I would still prefer Montas over him, but he's definitely in play. Musgrove, big name, not interested in him though. I mean, if you haven't, I'm not saying you have to fade him, but there's better options. Erod going up against the Yankees. Sorry, if I'm going through this pretty quick, I just kind of want to highlight each of the pitchers, at least that I'm interested in, at least. But Erod, he's had 3 games against the Yankees so far this season, and he's done very well in all 3. 30 points, 26.5, and 16.4. So at 8.3, if he can put up, even if he could just put up 20 to 24 points for you, that is an excellent return for value there. So I think Erod is in a nice spot. He's going up against a team that he clearly is comfortable facing against. They strike out a lot, as you can see, and he doesn't walk many guys, which is fantastic as well. So give me Erod down in this price range. One of my favorite plays down here. Fried, Philly does pretty well against left-handed pitching, so I'm kind of off of him. COBB, we know what COBB's ceiling can be. So GPP play, Minnesota, they just lost Nelson Cruz to a trade to Tampa Bay. So they're going to be losing one of their best bats in the middle of the order there, in the heart of the order. So COBB for GPP, I think he's a fine play. He can have some command issues at times, but still, his ceiling at 7.9K is, his ceiling is one of the best around his price range here. Kikuchi, past couple games have been kind of off, but before that, his floor was honestly, it was one of the best floors in the entire majors. It's impressive. So, he's a decent pitcher. I don't want to say he's a great pitcher yet. Following him in the KBO when he was over in Korea, he was just not a good pitcher. So, I don't want to say he's a great pitcher, but he is solid. Going against Oakland, it's not the greatest matchup, but if you're looking, maybe if he can return to form, that's fine. But, you always want to make sure you're paying attention to not just who the pitcher is and what their pricing is. You want to look at the guys around them as well. Like COBB's just 100 more. I'd probably prefer COBB. Erod's only 500 more. I'm going to take Erod over that. So, yeah, look at the guys around him. Cueto, Plesac, yeah. Everybody else below him there, I feel like that's kind of the cutoff of this slate here is right under Kikuchi. If you were to look down here, I think 2 guys that you can look at, Chad Kuhl for Pittsburgh. He's been doing pretty well as of late. He is going up against pretty well for his salary. He's going up against San Francisco. They are still pretty injured. Longoria's on the IL. Crawford's on the IL. Can't think of the third guy, but they have another big name who's out as well. So, the offense does have some sort of an injury bug going around. So if he's able to go out there and get you 15 points, awesome. He's more than capable of doing so. As you can see, he's got that in 4 of his past 5 starts. But do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But San Francisco's a solid offense. But if you want to roll the dice, go for it. WILY Peralta, though. WILY Peralta, first off, Detroit out of the All-Star break is on fire. This team is incredible out of the All-Star break. Going up against Kansas City, not a great offense, and he's pitching really well compared to even to all the pitchers on this slate. He's got one of the better averages in the past 4 starts. And now he wasn't facing the best offenses. Minnesota facing the injury bug. Texas, I just told you how bad they were against right-handed pitching. And Cleveland, we all know, can throw up a dud as well. But 6.5K, again, if he can get you even just 15 points, that's awesome. He's definitely going to be reaching his salary value at 15 points. Anything above that is just extra cushion. for your lineup. I don't even know where I'm going with that, but Peralta, I think he's a fine play down here as well. Nobody else, not too interested in. So that was a lot, but I wanted, it's a large slate. I wanted to get through it all. But let's turn towards the bats here and just kind of go over some of my favorite plays. We'll just go game by game here. I'm not going to break down every single game, but just so that I don't miss the teams that I'm interested in there. So nobody really in this game offensively. Baltimore, I think their offense can be interesting. I don't think Corbin's a great pitcher. Obviously, he has his games where he's able to throw out a decent or a nice game. But Baltimore, I think, some of the righties in their lineup can get to Corbin. So Baltimore, a nice GPP play. Sure, I'm interested in them. Cincinnati, anytime Cincinnati's at home, you have to be paying attention to them. Going up against LeBlanc, not a solid pitcher, lefty. So you're going to be looking at the righties for for Cincinnati. I don't know. Nice place. Salary's not too bad, but if you do want to throw in two of the top pitchers, if you want to throw in Cole and you want to throw in Giolito, could be kind of difficult. You're going to be looking for some value on this play. And on large slates like this, there is value to be found. But you just got to search for it. So Cincinnati kind of interested. San Diego possibly going up against Thompson. Like I said, Thompson, he's posting nice numbers, but I'm not convinced yet that he's able to shut anybody truly down. And the San Diego offense is very powerful. Not too much in this one. Maybe Toronto. McGill, he's a solid pitcher, but I would leave Toronto in this game. Nobody from Boston, New York. We're really on Houston. Houston going up against Allard. Allard has, let's pull up his numbers here. Allard I think he let up 4 home runs in a game or two ago. Yeah, so 2 games ago, he let up 4 home runs. He doesn't strike out too many guys. He doesn't walk too many guys either. But still, he's allowing a lot of hits. He's allowing a lot of earned runs in his 5 to 6 innings that he is out there. His ERA in his past 5 starts is close to 6. So he's not in good form. So I think Houston with their bats definitely in play, especially their righties, guys like Altuve, guys like Gurriel, Correa, all solid options. Detroit, I mentioned they were a hot team coming out of the All-Star break. I think they're at 7 wins in a row. 8 maybe? No, 7. I think it's 7 wins in a row. So if you want to plug them in against Buich, totally like that. Guys like Candelario, Miguel Cabrera, Scope, Grossman, those are all fine options. They're fairly cheap, once you get past Scope and Candelario, pretty cheap. So you could be able to fit those guys in with some of the top pitchers. Angels, one of the best teams in the league against left-handed pitching. J.Hay App, he can have his games as well. So I do like the Angels in this game. Dodgers for sure going up against Chichiga. Dodgers are probably my favorite stack. I'll just say that right here. Dodgers probably going to be a popular stack for sure. They're probably going to have one of the higher implied run totals on the entire slate because Chichi Gonzalez is one of the worst pitchers in the entire major leagues. And, you have that combined with the powerful offense of the Dodgers, and it's a match made in heaven. So absolutely like the Dodgers. And, Oakland, Seattle, not too much interest in. So really, I'm looking for the Dodgers, the Astros, Detroit, the Angels. Those 4 are kind of like the big 4 I'm looking at. There is one team, though, that is kind of like a YOLO play for me here. And my one YOLO team is going to be St. Louis. I don't expect them to be popular at all, going up against one of the better pitchers on the slate in Molly. But let me pull up Molly here. So Molly, he's a decent strikeout pitcher. He really, his DFS worth is pretty much through his strikeouts. But when he is not striking out guys, he really struggles. He lets up a lot of hard contact. You can see, he allows multi-home runs often, and he lets up a lot of earned runs as well. So even though in these games, check this out, even though he's getting like 7, 8 strikeouts, he's only in the low teens for DFS points. And that's because, he lets up a lot of hits. He lets up a lot of walks. He lets, guys get on base. He lets up the long ball. So if he's not striking guys out, he does struggle. And the opposing batters can really get to him. Now, St. Louis, as a team, have the lowest strikeout in the entire major leagues against right-handed pitching in the past month. They're down to a 16% strikeout rate, which is insanely low. So you have this pitcher who's very strikeout dependent for him to do well, because if he's not striking out guys, he's walking them. He's getting hit hard, right? So now you have St. Louis. They don't strike out at all. They're able to make contact. They draw walks. They're in this small ballpark of Cincinnati. I think St. Louis might be my favorite sneaky GPP stack on the slate here. Now, it is a YOLO play. Molly is a solid pitcher. So there's a chance that, he's able to shut them down. But I'm definitely going to have a strong interest in St. Louis tomorrow, or whenever you're watching this, on Friday night. So St. Louis is definitely my YOLO call. So just to kind of recap everything, I know this is getting kind of long here, but up at the top, in the top tier of pitchers, I'm going to go with Cole, and then GIOLITO, and then Peralta and Wheeler. Next set of guys is probably going to be Montas, Erod, COBB, ODORIZZI, and KIKUCHI. And if you really need some punt plays, we're looking at Peralta and we're looking at KUHL. As far as bats, we're looking at the Dodgers, the Astros, the Angels. Detroit is hot. Cincinnati, obviously, at home. And St. Louis is my GPP YOLO call of the night. So that kind of covers everything. Thanks for sticking around this long. Thanks for tuning in as well. We really do appreciate all the views. Please subscribe. More than half of you that are watching these videos are not subscribed. We have all the analytics. So hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button, drop a comment. It really does help us out in providing all this free content for you guys. So that kind of wraps things up. So as always, good luck in your contest, and we'll see you in the next video.